Can we give a huge round of applause for Addie from Gett?
All right.
You good? You like that? Ooh,
It's working, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, good evening, everyone. I'm a bit excited. So many people. I hope it won't happen again. Yeah, it will. Okay, so I won't stand where they told me to stand. I'll stand here. So, I'm Adi. I'm the product design lead at Gett. Originally, I'm from Tel Aviv. For the past 2 years, I'm here in London. I'm going to speak with you this evening a little bit about my journey at Gett, and I will share with you a case study about an improvement, a huge improvement that we did in our app. But first, I want to share something that I wasn't planned to share regarding to what Tim presented before me. So I joined Gett 3.5 years ago. And 3 years ago, I think I came here to London for the first, we did a user research and some user testing with drivers. We are working mostly in London here with black cabs, which is a very traditional industry. And, well, I got a really cold shower here because they were not prepared to work with our app. They thought that we are Uber, that we are going to ruin their industry. And every time I went to another session with driver, there was a lot of rage. And I think 3 years later, today, when I go to in London and talk to drivers and doing user research with drivers, they love it. They think that it's going to save their industry and it's going to save their profession. So I think it's really important in the design and in the tech industry to take those things into consideration. We are talking about the future, but I think that we have so many steps before that we can talk about very progressive things. As designers, we have plenty of challenges ahead of us, and I will share my challenge very soon. I hope it's working. No. Working. Great. So, a little bit about Gett for those of you who are not familiar with Gett. So, Gett is a global on-demand transportation service. We are connecting customers with transportations, goods, and other services. This means that we are a two-sided market, and means that we have the supply, which are our drivers, and we have the demand, our riders. And we are operating in more than 120 cities, in the UK, in Israel and Russia, and in the US, as you know. So as I mentioned, I joined Gett 3.5 years ago as a senior product designer. And we were a team of 3 designers working from Tel Aviv. We had only 2 products back then. And today we have 5 products, a bit bigger team. And we are a team that works in London, Tel Aviv, and in Russia. That means that most of our work we are doing remotely, which is also a fascinating topic, but maybe for another time. And I'm here to talk with you a little bit about map and locations and how it is important for this industry and what are the challenges that we have with map, especially in this age of autonomous cars and things that's supposed to go around the street without someone to operate it. So for us, maps are a very significant part of every product that we have at Gett. It's either the driver app that we have that's supposed to let our drivers know where to go in order to find jobs and jobs that they feel that they are respectful for them, because this is what this industry is about. It's about people and about us riders looking for our car on the street. And I'm a bit of a map geek, so this is something that I really like about working at Gett. And I'm sure that most of you are familiar with this icon. Um, is that correct? It's a GPS icon. We all know it. I think that um, most of our use with this icon is going out of the tube and looking at our phone and starting to go to that direction and then going to that direction. And we are trying to look very cool when we do it, so no one will notice that we went lost or these things send us to the wrong place. So this is a very frustrating experience. And when I first started to work on this specific project or problem, I thought that GPS is quite out of the box technology, that it's quite stable, that it's supposed to be work in the same trust everywhere. And I find out that I was completely wrong. And we had a problem in our own product, and we find it out from our riders and drivers. And this is how. So each month we run an NPS, which is a Net Promoter Score. It's kind of a metric that companies use in order to measure the loyalty of their customer to their brand. And for me as a UX designer, it means that each month I'm getting a huge CSV file with lots of words of people either saying what they like about our product or what is frustrate them, what is not working, and why they will leave us, which those are the good bits, for me at least. And it was almost 2 years ago, this is what we saw. 60% of our riders complained about the location and the map accuracy, which is a lot. And it wasn't happening only in a specific place, it was happening in many places, and especially in Russia, but I won't get into that. But this will tell you that maps are a bit complex. And this is what the users wrote us, actually. The map take you to the wrong location. The time for the car to arrive is incorrect, or that the driver couldn't stop or couldn't find them and they had to cancel the ride. And when people had to cancel a ride, it really hurts your number and it hurts your trust with the customers. And here I want to say something. I think that most of us in the room are designers. Am I correct? No? Yes? Yes? Okay, nodding. Good. So for me, I always try to listen. And listen means that I'm going to the App Store and I'm reading what people say about us. And I'm going online and to all sorts of social channels to see what people say, what people complain. And also, I really recommend it as competitor research. Go see what people say about your competitors. It's really, really important stuff over there. So we knew that we have a problem. Great, but now what is the problem? Why do we have this problem? So we did a research, and at Gett we are working closely with data. We run plenty of research. We have a few methods, and we're using those methods depending on what we're trying to find. And here, to understand what's going on here, I use those four methods. One of them is on-site user testing, which you call users in, whether it's to a facilitator office, and you ask them questions. And soon I will tell you what they told us. There is another option that there are some companies that let you record sessions of your own users, and you can watch those sessions, and you can find out many faulty things through this method. We also do outdoor user testing, which is one of the things that I really like. It means that you actually go out and you book a real car, and the real driver is coming, and they are always thrilled to engage and they want to contribute and tell you what is wrong and what is on their mind, and online user testing. And through mixing of all those methods, we kind of realized that we have two groups of users. And one group, which was the majority of our users, is we call them button meshers. It's users who see a screen, they see a big button, they just press on the button. That's it. They don't see, they don't read, no matter what you will do, no matter if it's broken, if it's not working. See a button, they click it, next. And the other group, which were a really, 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 really smaller group, are the pin setters, are people who are looking at what they should look. They are making sure everything is right, the address is right, everything is correct, and they are continuing. So we had to create an experience to solve both of those users' problems. But going back again, what is the problem? So we know that we have a group of users that act this way and another act the other way. And here in the yellow square, you can see our London office. This yellow is just for demonstration. Ignore it on the next slide. And you can see that we have 4 roads. So it's not a massive building, but where are you going to be picked up from? And we saw that we have the GPS dot, which we all know. And GPS is a very sensitive technology, apparently. It kind of reacts to your network, whether it's 3G, 4G, Wi-Fi, and it behaves a bit differently if you are indoors or outdoors, or no matter in what area you are. For example, in Manhattan, it's not the best GPS receptions over there. So it's challenging. And you have the coordinate, and the coordinate is what's been sent back in a way. So this is the dude. This is what we call this guy at Gett. So we have he represents the coordinate. And we have what we are receiving from Google API. We are receiving this address. So we have 3 different locations to represent this specific pickup. And we have 3 cars, which will be the best driver to pick me up. So it raises many, many questions that we realize, okay, we have here some problem, and we need to gap the technology in order to create a better experience. Looking at the data, we try to also visualize a few things. Here you can see again the area of our office. And what you see is some sort of a heat map of 72 hours of the pickup that happened in this area. And what we learn here are 2 things. First thing is that maybe there are places that are much more convenient to be picked up from. And the other thing is that if I'm ordering a car to this address, the pickup might be a few meters away. So there is this gap. And the larger this gap is, the less convenient it is for the users. So from here, we build an assumption that maybe some places are better pickup for both riders and drivers, and we try to work around it. And we sketched a few sketches. We tested them and tested them some more. And then we came out with this sort of MVP. And what we did here, we took those, let's call them heat areas, and we created what we call optimal pickup locations. And we use those optimal pickup locations. So if your GPS is in a certain radius from this optimal pickup location, the dude will snap to it, and it will be your default pickup. And we released it and measure it, and this is what we saw. This is what we had before. Okay, go back. We had many KPIs to measure this, the success of this feature, but one of them was the distance between the place I booked a cab to the place that the driver actually picked me up from. And this is what we measured, and we were in 58% of accuracy, and we progressed in 30% after we released it. So we thought, okay, we're going in the right direction. This actually taught me a lot about the power of defaults. And the power of default is that when you are designing a screen, don't let your user think. Suggest him what is the right option and give him a really quick and easy way to opt out. It's important. Otherwise, we saw that people are getting frustrated from it, but work with the defaults. And from here, we did some refinements, and we created some more experiences that can solve these problems. So to the left, you can see what we are calling a recent pick-up point. So for example, if I will book a ride from this location, and tomorrow I will book another ride from this location, it will say, hey, this was a recent pick-up point. Go to that pick-up point. It might be a good one. And we also started to work with favorites, with places that users saved, which we didn't do before, and it was a bit not so clever from us, but what you can do, you learn. And we also started to make public places more user-friendly by creating pickup zones for our riders. So, for example, if you are in Heathrow and you have 5 or 6 terminals, if I will book a ride for Terminal 5, good luck. I will never find my driver. But if I will have a pickup zone and I will order the cab to the pickup zone, and the app will tell me how to go to that pickup zone, so we have here a win. And this kind of takes me forward a bit to think about the future and what technology can do meanwhile. And I think it was a year ago, or a bit more than a year ago, Apple introduced their AR kit. And we were thinking, how we can play with this new technology. And we created an experiment, and actually Apple kind of supported us here. And we created something that after you book the car to a really successful pickup, the best pickup point ever, now you need to find your driver. So whether you are booking a ride to your home, you are still searching and still meeting this blue dot to tell you where is the driver, is it to your left or to your right? And we wanted to create an experience that connects the driver and the rider a bit better. And this is what we do. This is like a really, really very early POC that we did. I will show you the video. It's a ride that I took actually on Friday night. I'm looking for my driver. The driver has arrived, and this arrow is pointing me to the driver. Now I will try a little bit to challenge the arrow and go to the other direction to see if it's actually working. I can see the distance from the driver, and I'm walking towards Dean to see where he is. And I mean, eventually I find Dean. And this is very, very early stages of something that we are continuing to develop and improve. And this is currently open to Gett employees as an alpha. And this kind of takes me to the end of my talk. And I will share with you a few takeaways that I had from this experience. So technology is not magic. It's our responsibility as designers to create those magic moments. And magic moments not necessarily need to be sprinkles on the screen. It should be those moments that the technology is failing us. We need to find clever ways to make it smarter and make our users succeed in the task that they are hiring us to do. And I think that the second thing for us is to listen to our users, as I mentioned before. So you don't have to create very sophisticated surveys in order to get this data from your users. It's over there. You just need to look it up and listen. And the third thing is work with defaults. It will really, really improve your numbers. I promise you. And a fourth one, which is not written here, is make technology inclusive. And for me, it means that, okay, this AR experiment that we started to do is really nice, and maybe autonomous car, it's really nice, but my dear mother-in-law, she's calling me at least once a week with a very fear in her voice. My internet is not working, or something like that. And if she will have to look for the car with this AR feature, I'm sure that she will go back and call the taxi company by her phone. So we need to make, as designers, we need to make technology inclusive and to find smarter and simpler way to make the future nicer, because when I'll be 60, if I will have to go and look for an autonomous vehicle and try to figure out how to go in, I'm not sure I will be able to make it, so please. And thank you. And this is a coupon code for people who haven't used Gett. So sorry if you used it before. Yeah, this is the time to take out your phones. And also, feel free to contact me if you want to discuss product and mobility and tech. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adi. I'm going to do my favorite part of this, which is to throw the magic kind of thing. Oh, all the way over there? I mean, are you kidding me? I'm gonna kind of cheat and go halfway, and I'll throw it to you. So yeah, questions for Adi, quickly. Staff, are you ready?
Oh. Impressive.
Thank you. Thank you for a great talk. As far as I'm aware, that AR experiment was something you developed internally. And but at the same time, you're doing lots of user testing. I'd be curious to understand how you prioritize feature requests from users versus just internal tests that might actually reinvent the company.
I think this is a really, really great question. I love it, because this is exactly what we are working on. I mean, how you prioritize what to work on. And at Gett, we have here product manager just in front of you that's just nodding. We have this method that we are working. It's called ICE. And it kind of tell you how to prioritize things according to whether they're going to be successful, they are going to affect your metrics, and other easy to build. And this AR feature, it's something that we've been doing really, really under the radar as a really side project. Few designers and a few developers. It's not something that's on our pipeline, it's just something that we do in order to explore technology. And what we find out when we first started to work on it, there was a lot of excitement in the company. People thought, yeah, it's going to be the next thing. And we had a sprint to work on it. And then I think the strong voice was that it won't solve the problem for the majority of our customers. So yes, again, it's down in the priority. And this technology, it's not yet very sophisticated. You can't count on it. So this is not on our priority list at all. Okay, thank you. Oh, two.
Hi. What was the impact on the NPS from this optimal pickup development?
20% people complaining about the pickup accuracy.
Instead of 60?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That was nice.
Where shall I take? That one?
Then there is one.
Okay, catch.
So you showed an example of outside the Gett office and at
Mhm.
Heathrow. What happens when you don't have any data on, no one ever requested a Gett ride in this area?
Mhm.
Do you have is there a fallback, or do you just use the GPS location, or?
So it kind of leave you to the mercy of API and your Google API and the GPS accuracy that you have. Yeah.
And when do you consider that the data set is good enough for you to prioritize the preferred pickup location
Mhm.
against the GPS location?
So we have sets of many rules, and it really depends and vary about the area. So you have these scores of those points. So you have stronger points and weaker points, and you need to start to prioritize them and to make it really smart. There is one over there.
Since you're using ARKit, could you have like a giant bright arrow on top of the car so that?
Yes. So basically, you can, but outside with the environment, we find it really challenging to identify objects. It's really easy to do it indoors, more to do it than to do it outside. So it was a bit challenging. So I think this was one of our findings, because we started with this arrow above the car, and we really liked it. But this AR kit, if you saw when I approached the car, it said that I was 8 meters from the car. So it's not really accurate by the meter. So we tried to find a way how to overcome this challenge. And basically what we discovered is that people are looking at the arrow. They want to know which way to go. It not necessarily need to be a really fancy 3D arrow and show you a highlight on the street, because it won't be accurate. It's not accurate by the meter. So we try to make it as simple, stupid as it can be to serve the purpose.
Thanks.
Great. Round of applause for Adi, please.
Thank you, guys.